Yo, what's up, everybody? New week, new show, and boy, have we got a lot to unpack for y'all today. I'm Kane.
I'm Maria.
And I'm Hells.
All right, let's get right on into it, folks. So there's a whole lot of ERs going on. Mario, what you got?
All right. So the ones we're actually going to cover today are TTD, Win, and Disney. Now, TTD was a beat. They reported Q2 revenue 464.3 million on a consensus of 455 million. And they see Q3 revenue of at least 485 million on a consensus of 479.61 million. So that is a beat and a raise on guidance. Win reported Q2 EPS 84 cents, consensus 59 cents, revenue 1.6 billion on a consensus of 1.54 billion. That is also a beat, slight beat, but it is a beat. I don't have any guidance out on Win. And then Disney, let's see what Disney did. Disney reported Q3 EPS X items $1.03, consensus 95 cents, revenue 22.33 billion, consensus 22.5 billion. That is actually a slight beat. I'm so sorry. That's a slight miss. It's been a long Wednesday. Anyway, they also reported 146.1 million Disney Plus paid subscribers as of the end of Q3. And then I think the last thing there, Disney reported Q3 media and entertainment distribution revenue of 14 billion, down 1%. That's what we have for earnings.
And Disney's down a little bit. They're down almost 2%.
Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah.
All right, folks. So we got a whole bunch of stuff, like I said, to unpack. We had ERs, and then we got Moody's, right? So over the past week, Moody's cut ratings of 10 U.S. banks, and they put some other big ones on watch. So these are all the ones that we had that were actually downgraded, some of your smaller regionals. But here, take a look. You got like Truist, BNY Mellon, US Bancorp is not small at all. So
Nope.
they're on like rate watch negative. And I mean, really, the funny thing about this, the thing that they cited was like rising interest rates, environment, less profitability for these banks. It's like, shouldn't they have done that like back in the spring sometimes? Like, why did they wait so long?
That's a great question. I want to know the same thing. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, the timing is oddly suspicious, right? And to me, when you do these types of things, it really we have to be honest. It takes credibility away from them. In a lot of it, in my opinion, when you're looking at it, when you want to be Johnny come lately, or you don't want to rock the Apple card as we're sitting here moonshotting. I think, Kang, you and I and a lot of people are looking at this bull run that we had post bank failures, and now when we're back to relative highs, we want to start talking about there being issues with with the banks again. After the Fed offered these banks a 1-800 cash call number, you need money, we got you. It's like they've already done it, so it's very disingenuous. It begs a lot of questions. I think that as traders that have been around for a little while, we're used to getting the banana in the tailpipe, and this is like one of those banana in the tailpipe type moments from a couple of these reporting agencies that just doesn't jive. It's like they're supposed to be the standard for credibility. How do you have credibility when you're going to wait till now to do it?
Yeah, really. Yeah. Somebody must have wanted to ride that wave up and then they had puts when they threw it out there.
Right? I agree. I think it definitely makes people question their credibility, and then going forward, that then affects how serious people will take them on anything.
Well, if you didn't already question their credibility after the GFC, I remember all that crazy stuff going on back
Right?
there and the robo loans and all that. It's like, where we all at? Sleep at the wheel then, too. Oh, so it's like 2.0 there. I was looking too at the setup here. I was looking at the setup here ahead of because we got CPI and PP. Well, we got let me back up a little bit. We got CPI coming out tomorrow in the morning, 8:30, and then you got PPI coming out on Friday. So producer price. So this is going to be interesting. I don't know about y'all, but this could really dictate like market Momo here for a few trading days. I mean, everybody and their mama's going to be paying attention to it. I was looking at the setup here earlier, and we for all this drama, we just pulled right back to the 34. That's the gold line there in the chart. So this 44 like 65 to 44.70 has been some long-term trend support right here. And yesterday we pulled down and then we got the push up. Today we pulled down, we got the push up and the dump into the close. I mean, it's pretty dramatic price action, but I'm going to be watching that 44.65 to 71 area through the print tomorrow morning to see what we do.
It's like it's the pullback that everybody wanted. It becomes one of those things that is just like, do I want to buy it here? Do I want to buy it in advance of CPI? Do I want to buy? So this is like one of those ideal technical pullbacks that you can look at. But when you've had a run and you break that upward channel, that it looks as if, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it a little bit, that channel's a little bit broken, that we've had that parabolic move. It begs the question, what's next, especially when you have these reporting agencies coming out and trying to slap everybody with a downgrade after sitting there stuck on stupid for months. It's like, look, we all know it's a game. We all know it's a game to take money away from people that don't have the money to sustain this type of environment. That's what the game is. So if we're looking at it that way, I don't know that I can pull the trigger on a go. I just don't, with it sitting right where it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with waiting for that data to come out. It is a big number. It's a much anticipated number. Tomorrow's report, especially the CPI. I don't think there's anything wrong with waiting for that to come out, waiting for even PPI to come out on Friday before making a move. I can tell you that just from a flow standpoint, I've not really seen anything that I'm super excited about. Maybe one-offs here and there, but nothing. No sector rotation, like large sector rotation, like I like to see. No big money really being put to work. So I don't think we're alone in feeling like we want to wait.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I got a question for y'all though. So two things also have happened this week. We've had some, I mean, we've known that the 30-year fix has been pretty high. So we've had mortgage rates, they went back over 7% this week. And then also another thing that kind of came out of the blue was this recent push up on oil, right? So oil now over 80 something dollars a barrel. I think today I checked Brent, it was like 84, 85. So I mean, that obviously both of those things can put pressure on the consumer. I mean, how are y'all feeling about those two?
I agree. I think there could be pressure put on the consumer as gas prices continue to go up. I know down here in Texas, they've gone up a little bit, nothing too dramatic. But yeah, I agree with you. I do.
Yeah, of anything that impacts the consumer ultimately is a problem, right? It's like because we're a consumer-based economy, and I think it's funny how all of these things are coming on this collision course. So we're going to talk about credit issues now. We're going to talk about rising energy prices. We're going to talk about all of these different factors that all of a sudden are going to become a problem. Oil is one of those things that in crude should never become a problem. They just shouldn't. But here we are once again having the same conversation.
Hey, all I know is that if you got mortgage rates going up, you got oil going up. If that continues to go up, and then we got student loans, like I need to buy some calls on OnlyFans because that's probably going through the roof in the fall. Okay,
Right.
OnlyFans is going crazy, man.
I thought you were going to
Somebody
sell
has to
tickets
pay
to
for it
your
on the
house.
other side, though. It's like you got to put your nickels in the jukebox to get the show, right?
There you go. There you go.
I'm
Hey,
assuming that you do. I've never been on an old OnlyFans, so
hey. I mean, I was about to say enlighten us, Els, enlighten us. All right, folks, that brings us to the next part of the show. Fittingly, Shag, Mary, Kill. Mario, what's your first up this week? What you got?
My turn. Okay, we're going to talk about Okta. So this one actually came in a few weeks ago. Number one, Okta is a name that doesn't typically get much flow. So when I see flow come in on it, it's going to catch my eye every single time. I don't care how big or small it is. I'm going to examine it further. Um, so again, a couple weeks ago, they came in. They bought the November $80 calls. It was a nice line that came in. You see that daily chart that was popped up there. It's a beautiful spot on that daily, relatively low risk reward profile there. And interestingly enough, see there's that chart. You'll see kind of just sideways for a little bit, but it's relatively low risk reward. I like that. Interestingly enough, they added to that position yesterday. That OI when that pops up, you'll see that that OI jumped considerably. So this one is a shag for me. I like it. It's a name I like. It's flow that I like. I like the chart, so I'm going to shag, and I am in this position.
Very nice. So is does Okta have is that they have crypto exposure? Is that part of their
No, no, they're
no?
cybersecurity. I believe. I don't
Their
think they
cyber.
have. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they have crypto exposure.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. If you're in, I'm in. It's that's all I
I
needed. Maria's in. She's all flow. Yeah. Okay. Let's throw a contract or two at it and see what happens.
I
appreciate that.
I like the flow, and I also like the setup on the chart. I think that you're forming a nice base right here. So I think, like you were saying in your original case for it, it's a low risk entry right here. You'll know pretty quick if it's wrong, but I like it. I like how it's forming out, and I mean, in today's geopolitical world, there's definitely a need for cybersecurity. So I'm down.
Thank you.
Looks like I'm up next. It's all about cash, baby. I can't swing anything right now. It's just like, deploy the cash during the day, welcome the new cash on into the account, let them get to know each other overnight. And, they go out and work for me again the next day. I can't deploy anything, especially we got CPI tomorrow. I was looking through a few things today and I'm just like, I cannot pull the trigger on any short term swings. So for me, it was cash last week. The charts were just kind of hovering. Today, it's going to be cash for me. Again, we just got CPI on the horizon.
I can't argue with it based on the environment. In a lot of ways, as inauthentic as Fitch and Moody's wants to be, it's hard to have. And we talked about confidence. We have to be confident investors. They've taken that away. And even with Tesla last week, it's right in that zone that 240, 245 zone that I want to pick it up. I just can't make myself pull the trigger on it. It's like this is the area that I wanted to buy, but I can't make myself do it right here, right now. So I don't fault you one bit.
Thank you,
I'm
brother.
with y'all. I don't blame you at all. I like it. So cash it is for me as well.
Woo!
Ooh, what's that?
All right.
Yeah,
So
beautiful
this is
picture.
mine. I took a brief mini vacation. Went down to Costa Rica for a few days. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, this is why it's a shag. I had gotten to the point where I was really, really running low on fumes. I was hitting the wall. I was hitting quote unquote burnout. I needed an opportunity to refresh myself with no TV, no screen, no nothing, spending time with family. Sometimes you need to go ahead and recharge your battery. For me, this shag was one of the best trades and best plays I've put on in a very long time because I was able to kind of recharge. And I encourage you, if you're hitting the wall, if you're hitting that point of diminishing returns with what you're seeing, what you're doing, give yourself a break, guys. Take a moment, spend time with some family, spend time with people around you. Find that smile again that you had that gives you desire to get in the market and play. Take care of yourself first and foremost. If you don't take care of yourself, you will not perform well in the market. So that is my shag for the week.
I love it. I'm gonna ride with you. I like
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah, I mean, you can even also go for like the double like thing, and you can shag in on the vacation, right? That's like the double.
Yes, absolutely.
There
Or
you go.
triple if you
Yeah,
want. You can quintuple if you feel like it because it's vacation, right?
exactly. That's awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
Octagonal? Is there an octagonal?
Uh, that might be a follow up to your OnlyFans earlier. All right, folks. We got the viewer questions, and we got multiple ones this week. So we really appreciate y'all for sending these in. First one, Kels123 ask, um, and I know, yeah, this one's that sneaky burner account. When seeing options flow in an ETF, uh, when seeing option flow in an ETF, is it the best to trade the ETF or the underlying holdings? How do you choose? What say y'all?
Okay, so this is a twofold question, and it can get a little bit tricky. So I think what it starts with is liquidity, right? How liquid is that ETF? Because there are going to be some ETFs where you might be able to decipher some of that flow, and you might be able to trade the flow, a SPY, Qs, diamonds, whatever. But there may be some ETFs that are completely illiquid, and in that situation, when you see flow come into something that's illiquid like that, you're not looking to trade the actual ETF. You're looking at potential movement into the tickers that comprise the ETF. So it's kind of a twofold question, but for me, it starts with the liquidity of the ETF itself.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's great advice. It's like the other thing is know what you're trading. It's like you see ETF flow, know what you're trading, know what's in there, know what the components are, know what's going to drive it. Because in a lot of ways, some of these ETFs can be used as hedges for other positions. So in theory, you could be buying it. And with the way our flow works, we don't get alerts and triggers for ETF flow for the most part. It's like that's not a part of the model for Black Box. So you need to be very careful. The alerts that we get are very, very hand selected and very, very carefully procured, if you will, as far as bringing attention to them. If you're trading the ETF specifically, make sure, like Mario said, make sure it's liquid, make sure you know what the components of those are and know what the flow is around it. So if you're sitting here seeing SOXL flow come in, what's NVIDIA doing? What is TSM doing? What are these other tickers doing underneath? What is that flow? Does it support it? Are you getting supporting flow? That's how I like to look at it.
For sure. All right, Hells, you're up to bat next.
This is a tough one. Okay. Richie asked just a really, really fascinating question. With China experiencing deflation, will that spill over to the rest of the global economy? I think that we have to take two steps on this to really understand it. We are since COVID has taken place, whether people want to acknowledge or not, there has slowly but surely been decoupling from China. So, what is the root cause of their deflation? Why are they currently experiencing that at this moment? And I don't think that I think there's more questions than answers. I think we're in the very early stages of trying to understand their economy right now being paired with the global economy and how we're supposed to understand it and pair it, especially with our economy being reliant upon their production in many, many ways. The only thing that I'll say when it comes to deflation, before COVID, one of the number one fears in the market overall was the concept of deflation hitting the global economy, right? It's like that was a big deal. Deflation was talked about. Well, now we're pulling out of a post COVID economy. We're seeing some cracks over there. Our inflation trajectory is down. We are deflating, but to what point and what level? And then when does that become a problem to where we have to turn around and start cutting rates again, just based on that, not necessarily on economic weakness? So just a fascinating questions. I'm sure economists can spend hours and days on it. And I think it's something that we're going to have to keep a watch on. Is this an aberration or is this a trend? That's the question.
Well, I'll just say really quickly, I'll put my tinfoil hat on here and say I don't really trust China data to start off with. During the COVID pandemic, it was like 100,000 people getting sick a day here, and they would be like only two people got sick there. And I'm like, that's where it came from, man. So I don't trust China data whatsoever. So if it really is, I don't think it spills over here to the U.S. I think our economy is definitely different. There's a lot more dynamics that are going on here. We're still fighting sticky inflation. I don't think that we will fall into I mean, like Hells was saying, our inflation numbers are coming down, but to flip over and go into a deflationary environment, I don't think that hits us here. But that's just my 2 cents.
I agree with these guys. I mean, I don't think there's anything I could add to that. Y'all answered it perfectly.
Yeah, but before we go to this one, it's like I'm telling you guys, I will be damned if these jackwagons start getting on TV and start screaming about deflation before we hit 2% or whatever the target is. If they start feeding that narrative, deflation, there's a problem. When we drop 10% on the S&P, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to write very nasty letters to a lot of people. And it's going to mean something.
Yeah, he's going to have another Fitch moment. Yeah.
Fitch.
Okay, last question from Ducky. Ducky asks if you could have only one indicator on your charts, what would it be? Ooh, that's a good one. If I could only have one indicator on my chart, what would it be? I'm probably going to have to go with the 34 EMA. The rest, support and resistance, it's formed from the candles. It's not an indicator, but I like that 34.
Yeah, no, I like the 34 also. I think I'm going to go very basic, and it's not really an indicator. It's like those who've been around Black Box long enough know what Charlie's talking about with the turtle lines. Basic support and resistance. I would play the turtle lines over and over and over again if that's the only thing that I could use to kind of dictate what direction I need to be playing. So the turtle will be my line. I always love seeing the turtle get to the beach. Turtle lines at Tip Charlie.
If I had to look, I was told ahead of time that I had to choose one, and this is like making me pick between my kids. Like it's very difficult. Like if I had to quote a movie on this and be like, "I just can't do it, Captain. I don't have the powder." Like I can't, I can't choose one because each one tells me something different, and then I kind of put everything together, and it gives me a picture of go or get in or get out of the trade. I can't pick one, man. That's hard. That's very hard. All right, folks. So we have made it to the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube page. Hit that bell right there on YouTube, and that way you'll know when we go live. And we will see you guys next Wednesday, 10 minutes after the bell. Stay green, everybody.
Bye.